Hello children, welcome to your EVS class. The topic that we are going to take up in this class is means of communication, chapter 18 from your EVS books. Before we proceed with the chapter children, you need to know what is communication. Communication means connecting with people. Connecting with people how? By speaking to them or by sending letters to them. Now let us look at the definition of communication. Communication means to speak, write, or use signs and sounds to share ideas and information with each other. About the signs and sounds, children, we are going to learn in the coming slides, the slides that are following. But before that, can you see some pictures over here? Yes. Look at the picture of a telephone. Telephone, newspaper, letter, radio, and television. These are some of the means of communication. A telephone is used when you want to talk to somebody. You want to talk to your friend or you want to pour your heart out. Okay, so then you use the telephone. Newspaper gives you all the news around the world. You can read it and understand what is going on around the world. A letter, you write a letter when somebody is far away from you and you cannot connect to that person on the phone. Radio, you listen to the radio. Yes, you can listen to songs and music and so many other things. Some talk shows also on the television as well as on radios. Okay, so these are all different means of communication. Let us learn about the first means of communication. Telephones. Children, we need to remember that telephones are the fastest and the most convenient means of communication. Means it is very easy to communicate with anybody around the world on telephones, and it is the fastest means of communication. Like, I'll give you an example. Supposing what happens is that you go out somewhere and you're going in a car, your tire gets punctured, okay, and you don't find a mechanic shop around. What do? You're stranded. आपको समझ ही नहीं आएगा कि what you have to do. So what you can do is take out your mobile phone, quickly dial your papa's number or dial somebody's number and ask for help. So telephones are the most convenient means of communication. But there are two types of telephones and you need to understand the difference between the two telephones. Landline telephones and mobile telephones. What are landline telephones? Sitting at home, we can speak to anywhere, anyone on landline phones. Landline phones are the telephone instruments that you have at home. What you can do in that, you can just sit at home very conveniently, take your quilt, cover yourself, and dial the number, talk to anybody, anywhere. And mobile phones, they are even more convenient. Mobile phones you can carry anywhere. Okay, so both the telephones have the same function, but landline phones can be used at home. You can sit at home anywhere and speak to anybody. And mobile phones you can carry with you anywhere and talk to anybody around the world. Next we come to postal communication. Postcards, inland letters, and stamped envelopes are means of postal communication. Aerograms are also used to send letters abroad. We can get these from the post office. To post a letter, we need to write the address of the person we want to send the letter to and PIN code of that area correctly. Postal communication means, children, the letters that you send through the post office to your loved ones anywhere around the world. And what are the means of postal communication? An aerogram, an inland, a postcard, and an envelope which has a stamp on it. Aerograms. Aero is derived from the word aeroplanes. Okay, so aerograms mean if you want to write a letter somebody who is living in America, then you use the aerogram, and aerograms are sent through aeroplanes to the people who are living abroad or in other countries. And for the people living in India, across the country, you can send letters through inlands, postcards, or envelopes which have stamps on them. So this is all about postal communication. Postal communication means when you communicate with people through letters, and these letters, they are posted in the letterbox, from where the postman takes them to the post office. From there again they are sent to different cities, states, or abroad accordingly. Okay, children, supposing you have a friend who is living somewhere in some different state or city, and it is her or his birthday. Now you want to send a parcel or a present to that friend of yours. How would you send it? You would send it through the courier service. You can even send a card through the courier service, right? For quick delivery of letters and parcels from one place to another, we use courier service. Means if you want that your parcel or your letter should be delivered to that person very quickly without any delay, then you will send it through courier. To send written messages and photographs, the fastest way is through email. Everybody, I'm sure, must be aware of emails, right? Because everybody now knows how to use the computers. What are emails, children? Emails are letters that you write that you type on the monitor of your computer, and then send it through the computer to the other person. And that sending of letter through computers is known as email. Okay, so to send written messages and photographs, the fastest way is through email. In other words, communicating through letters which we send to others through computers is email. To send an email, we use a computer which is linked through the internet all over the world. And how do you send an email? It is not that just you open the computer and you type a letter on the monitor and you click enter and the letter goes. No. For that, you need to have internet. Internet, the Wi-Fi that you use. Internet connection helps us to send letters and messages through email to other people. Okay, and internet is used when we use a computer for communicating. Now here is something interesting for you. Journey of a letter. What is the meaning of journey? Journey means continuous traveling from one place to another, right? But here we are not talking of our journey, we are talking of the journey of a letter. Means from where the letter is posted and where it goes, how it goes. So, the process of posting a letter, we are going to learn through the journey of a letter. We put our letters in a post box. From there, the postman collects them in his bag and takes them to the post office. What do you do, children? You quickly write a letter. Either you take a stamped envelope, you take an inland or an aerogram, whatever you want to use. You quickly write a letter and you go and put it in a letter box. What is the color of the letter box? Red. You must have seen beautiful red color letter boxes at various places. You put the letter in the letter box. Then at fixed time, the postman comes. He takes out all the letters from the box, puts them in a bag and carries them to the post office. There they are sorted according to states and cities, means they are separated according to different states and cities. From here, they are sent to different states and places by trains and aeroplanes. Like if they are aerograms, then definitely they will be sent through aeroplanes. And if it is somewhere around in India, you can send them through trains. Then, after reaching their destination, like whichever state or city the letter has been posted to, after reaching there, again they are sorted according to the areas. Like, supposing somebody writes a letter to you, you are here in Noida, so the letter from that place will come to Noida. Here in the post office, again the letters will be sorted out. Noida, the letters of Noida will remain in Noida. The letters that have to go to Gurgaon will be sent to Gurgaon. Okay. And then in Noida also, it is not that just Noida. In Noida, supposing it is 30, sector 37, sector 110, whichever sector is mentioned or written on the envelope or on the inland, then that letter will be delivered to that place by the postman. Okay. But we have to just remember one thing, children, that if we write the wrong address, then definitely your letter will not reach the person you have written the letter to. So we have to keep in mind that whenever we write a letter to somebody, then we have to mention the correct address and the pin code of that area. Next, we move on to mass communication. Children, listen to me very carefully to understand what is mass communication. This is a way of communicating to a large number of people at the same time. Children, when you want to share an idea or you want to share some information with many people across your city or across the country or across the world, when you are communicating your information or your idea to many people together at the same time, that is called mass communication. And what are the means of mass communication? Number one, newspaper. It is the written way of communication. Now, newspaper, children, what happens? A newspaper has so many news articles from all over the place, and the same newspaper is sent across Noida to so many people, and the same news everybody is reading in the newspaper. Same news. Like now, supposing Times of India comes to my house, and I open the newspaper and I read, okay, this child in Jagran Public School has secured first position and bagged a gold medal. Okay, now the same news goes to some other person in sector 110, somebody who is living in sector 37, somebody who is living in sector 47. So many people are reading the same news in the newspaper. So that is mass communication. and it is the written way of communication. Number two is radio. Yes, radio also. Same programs come on the radio on different channels. Okay, and many people across the world can listen to the same programs. We can listen to songs and other programs on the radio. Number three is television. We can see and hear programs on television. Okay, this is the visual way of communication. When we see something and try to get a message from that program, that is called visual communication. Internet. We can get all kinds of information around the world on internet. Internet is very common, children, and everybody needs internet these days. You are having online classes. If there is no internet, then what happens? You are not able to join the class. And internet also connects us to many people, because we can get information on any topic that we want to know through the Google with the help of internet. Now children, there are some other means of communicating with people, and this communication is without speaking. Now you must be wondering, how can you communicate without speaking? Because children are all chatterboxes, and according to you, if you have to say something, the best way is to speak. But you must know certain things, that we can communicate without speaking to each other also. And how? Please listen to me carefully. Those people who cannot speak are dumb. People who cannot hear are deaf. You must have seen, children, unfortunately, there are some people who cannot speak. They are not able to speak. Like you can speak, like I'm talking to you. If I ask you a question, you give me an answer. But there are certain people who are not able to speak at all. And there are some people who cannot hear. They are not able to hear what you are saying. They don't understand because they are not able to hear. So those people who don't speak are called dumb, and those people who cannot hear are called deaf people. And now, how do they communicate? Because they cannot speak, they cannot hear. So unless and until you can speak and hear, how will you communicate? How can you share information? But children, there are sign languages. There are sign languages. And like you, when you start reading and writing, you start with the help of alphabets and numbers. These children, these kind of people also have sign languages. We call our letters alphabets, and their alphabets are sign languages. Okay, and there are 26 hand symbols. Hand symbols means a person who talks to them uses his or her hands to communicate, to tell them something, to make them understand something. They use their hands, and with the movement of hands, they can understand what the other person is trying to say. Then at times they also watch the lip movement. Lip movement means, like when I am talking to you, you can hear my voice, but because they cannot hear, so they can only see how the lips of the other person are moving, and with the help of the lip movement, they are understanding what the other person is trying to say. So these are sign languages which are used for the people who are deaf and dumb, means those who cannot hear and who cannot speak. Then children, dance mudras. These are also another means of communicating without speaking. Various hand movements, gestures and body movements are used by the dancers to express different things. They are called mudras. Everybody is fond of of dancing, right? And you must have seen there are different kinds of dances, children. And in every dance, there are different hand movements, different body movements, different facial expressions, means expressions on the face which the dancer has. So these type of movements are called mudras, because the dancer only dances, the dancer does not speak to you, and through the dance, through the hand movement, body movement and facial expressions, they express their feelings, what they are trying to depict in their dance. They express that through the body movement, hand movement and gestures, and these are called dance mudras. So children, with this we come to the end of the chapter, means of communication. I have tried to explain to you all the different means of communication, and hoping that you will read the chapter in your book very carefully and listen to the video again to understand the concepts better, to understand the definitions better, and to understand how we communicate with each other and what are the means of communication. Thank you, children, for listening so carefully. Bye bye.